What's going on? This is Cam Kirk, and this is a behind the cam moment of when I first shot Lil Yachty. The story behind my first time shooting Lil Yachty is actually a pretty unique story, and it's pretty interesting. It's one I love to tell. The story to really tell that story, I gotta kind of go back to the beginning of my career and kind of like my position in the game. When I first started doing work with the camera, I was mostly known for like a specific artist, photographer, or videographer. Like that was the job I was kind of pitched for, or that was the job that I kind of had. So when I first started, it was like, you know, you go on tour with an artist, or you travel to shows with an artist, you shoot their concerts, you shoot their behind the scenes at video shoots. But quite frankly, you never really shoot them in the way that you want to shoot them. Like you're always the second cam. You're never the first camera. You're never the main photographer. So I had been on so many sets, videos, photos, and for the most part, I was always just, you know, the B cam, the behind the scenes guy. And in 2015, I had just did my Trap God exhibit, which was like the first thing I did by myself that kind of really put my name on a map and put me kind of, like gave me a presence in Atlanta and in the music scene. And coming off that exhibit, I was like, you know what? I'm kind of tired of being the photographer they call just to come to the studio, or just pull up on me right quick, bruh, or just hit me, you know, come to the studio, it's 2 a.m. or come do this. I was kind of like, man, why don't y'all call me when it's, you know, album time, you know, for the album cover or the magazine covers or things of this nature. Like I was like getting kind of frustrated with it. But I understood, like, you know, I had to show them what I can do in order to be the guy that they called on for those types of moments. So I was in a drawing board. I was trying to figure out two things. I was trying to figure out how do I follow up an art exhibit after I did the Trap God exhibit. Like what's next? Like people are kind of expecting this like off the wall art exhibit type stuff from me. So what's kind of next? What am I gonna do next? And I remember just like riding down the street, and I was just kind of paying attention to my surroundings and just looking at different billboards. And I was like, damn, there used to be a time like you would drive down the street and there would be rappers on billboards. And I remember in Atlanta, most importantly, like they had like the most famous, you know, So Def billboard, the BMF billboards. It used to kind of be a staple as an artist to, you know, have your face on a billboard. Then it kind of sparked an idea for me, like if I'm gonna do something, you know, better or you know, on a higher scale than the Trap exhibit, why not put these artists on billboards and do an exhibit on billboards across Atlanta. And that's when I came up with the Day 4 exhibit I did. And the Day 4 exhibit was named that because on the fourth day is the day that God put the stars in the sky. So I was kind of thinking like, you know, in a way, I'm gonna put Atlanta's rising stars in the sky. And I knew I was gonna use this as a marketing tool and as a leverage tool to convince these rappers to start letting me shoot their real shoots. Because now we weren't just shooting in the studio anymore. This shoot was gonna go on a billboard in your neighborhood. So take me a little more serious. So I remember I set out to do that, and it was just coincidental that the timing worked out that a few months prior to that, I went to a 2 Chainz event. He was having a 2 Chainz, was having like a Christmas party. And I was walking in the crowd and I just kept getting stopped by person after person about this kid named Lil Yachty. I had never heard of him. I had never met him before, but it was like person after person was just like, yo, it's this kid Yachty here, you gotta meet him. It's this kid Yachty here, you gotta meet him. And the two people that stood out the most that told me about it was my boy Zeus Trappin', and it was Chili O. And those two guys that I kind of take their opinion kind of serious if they hit me and ask me something. So that day in the crowd, this happened literally in the crowd, none of us were in VIP or anything like that. They brought Lil Yachty to me and it was like, yo, this is Yachty, this is Cam Kirk. And I remember Yachty was like, man, I'm a big fan of your work. You know, my dad's a photographer, so I always looked up to your work. You know, you're iconic with your photography. Like, I would love for us to work together. And one thing I always say, I meet a lot of people and I often always challenge people. And my main thing I tell people is like, okay, if you wanna work, you wanna do something, you know, pull up on me, come to my office. And if you meet me at my office, I'll sit down with you. If I like the vibe, we'll work. So I said the same thing to Yachty. I'm like, yo, I didn't really know him like that. So I'm like, yo, you know, if you wanna work or you wanna get connected, yo, come by my office. You know, pull up on me. And I give it to him. He pulled up. He was very serious. Him and Zeus pulled up, I believe, like the next day. And he played me some of his music. We got to talking. And, you know, I gave him a little bit of just advice that I had. I didn't really know much at that time, but I gave him a little bit of advice. And that was our first time getting connected. And I swear, like, the next week, this kid blew up. Like, you know, Cold Like Minnesota was going crazy. One Night was going crazy. He was in the Kanye fashion show. And it kind of just spiraled quickly. It almost went so fast that we never even got a chance to work together. But we kind of stayed connected and, you know, the love was still there. So when it came time for me to do this Day 4 exhibit, I was like, who would be the perfect artist that will actually give me enough respect to let me do it my way and let me kind of creative direct, in a sense, my first real photo shoot. And Yachty was the first one that came to mind. I was like, I want to shoot Yachty. I know he's gonna, one, appreciate the photography. He's gonna be open-minded enough to my ideas. And I know we can really create some cool shit. And that's kind of how we got that kind of locked in. So I remember I reached out to Yachty. I was like, yo, bro, I love what you've been doing. I'm super proud of you. I want to put you on a billboard. Would you be down for us to do a photo shoot? And he was all into it. Like, didn't really ask many questions, was just like, of course. So from that point, I went to the drawing board of just trying to figure out what exactly was I gonna do with him and what was the concept. And at that time, I was rocking with my boy Keenan. I still rock with him, but I was with him every day at that time. And I kind of was just picking his brain about like, yo, what should we do? Where can we take Yachty? I didn't have my studio at the time, so I was like, you know, where can we do the shoot at? Like, what places do you know? And I saw that Keenan had did a shoot recently at this abandoned jail. I don't even know where he was at, where he did it. And I remember seeing it and I was like, yo, where was that at? Because that would be hard if I got to take Yachty there, secluded, and we can go do this shoot. And I had this idea, this vision of shooting him kind of on a ledge where there would be these like clouds behind him. So I remember Keenan told me exactly where it was. I told Yachty, you know, meet me here, you're gonna follow me. Man, this place had to be, I don't even know how Keenan found it, to be honest. This is like, I don't even know, like you have to turn off the road. Like you almost have to look like you're literally trying to do some stupid shit. Like we turned to the right in the middle of the woods. I don't even know where we're at. And I remember Yachty just being like, where in the world are you taking me? But we got to the spot and it was just a beautiful scenery. It was just a beautiful spot to shoot at. And Yachty was all for it. And I remember a lot of people try to give me credit for Yachty's outfit, but I honestly can't take credit for it. That's Yachty, man. He's a fly guy. Cause I remember he hit me, he was like, you know, what's the concept? What should I wear? And I was like, well, we're going to this abandoned jail type of thing. You know, whatever you decide is lit. And he decided to have Vivienne Westwood sweatsuit or a jumpsuit. So all credit to Yachty for that, but it was just perfect. Like blue and white. We put him up on the ledge. We shot him towards the clouds. The clouds just happened to be perfectly out that night, or that day, I might say. And the blue and white suit just kind of blended right into the sky. And it quickly became one of my favorite photos in my collection. And really thanks to Yachty, he's like one of the first artists to really let me have my way and do a photo shoot the way I wanted to do it, with my creative direction, with my vision. And I think it's become one of the most iconic photos in both of our collections to this day. And it's something that I get asked about a lot. Like, how did this come about? Who came up with what or what it was? But, you know, that's the story. You know, and now this photo hangs outside the hallway of my studio. And just recently, Yachty actually came to the studio and saw it. And we reminisced about it. We got to chop up about like how that day was. He autographed the photo. So if you ever visit Cam Kirk Studios, you'll see the photo right in the hallway. It's actually signed by the GOAT himself. And that's my brother, man. He's been nothing but supportive my whole career. I wish him most continued success. And that was just another iconic moment.